I feel like I don't know who he is, but something about him is also familiar. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's at Bena.
Yeah, people at Dana, well, he does stuff for the Phoenix as well.
Buddies with this guy?
I'm buddies, so I just,
I didn't know what like level of relationship. You guys acquaintances or buddies?
we're not buddies. We're not buddies. I'm not like that.
You're not happy with yet.
I'm not happy to see him.
I'm trying not to get jealous.
Yeah, yeah,
All right.
but, yeah, he said he's open to some sports as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, they just moved into a bigger place. They had a small place like ours.
Saina did?
No, he's like a builder installer for something else. But, yeah, he knew about it too, man.
He knows about it? I'm telling you, word is getting out.
Like, oh yeah, you think, you see the team over there?
So, word is getting out about us. Faith had his cousin's a doctor, and when he was big, so a couple of doctors invited the doctor. You know, they all kind of stick together. And one of them just randomly brings up, like, oh, you guys heard of the some kind of Aubrey? So this was good news because for recognition and purposes for goals and donations and stuff like that, it's a good thing. Right. Allah?
There he is.
Hey, Nick?
That's the troublemaker.
Habibi, mashallah. Yeah, you know, let's come and hang out on the boys' side. That's the girls' side. Yeah. You can come here. There's a chair for you. I'm like, what are you doing? He's sitting there reading the Aubrey. Mashallah. Now you got a proud Baba. You know, here. What do we don't need that. Nobody. So, can you grab me a chair for here? Mashallah. Checking 1, 2, 3. Can you go to Mr. Sun? Por favor. Let's see here. Checking 1, 2, 3. Mic test 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Can you hear it clearly? Yeah. Even with the fans on? Put on the fan over there. Fan is on. Fan is on? Yeah. Yeah, I wanted the louder one. The gray one's the louder one. I just need the background noise. I want to make sure you can hear clearly. All right, so I got a good foot away from the mic. I'm a foot away from the mic. I think this is good, right?
Might be too loud.
You think it's too loud?
It will be. It depends on the person.
If they could lower it.
Right. If it gets too loud, you can move the mic.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, pull it back away. Yeah. Oh.
I'll turn the other fan on. Turn the loud one on.
Yeah, you can shut off the gray one. I guess leave the other one. Yowdy, or you stick around? Which one? Just saying, show up the top. The trouble is, watch. You get salam? We'll let it fly, but just once. After this, I take things personally. I just got a message from him anyway. This guy just saying he should be here about 1:40. for the first one? Good question. For the what? Muslim teams? How many do you think we had? For the lecture, yeah.
Last Friday?
No, the following. I would say all together around 50 people. All together. That's including men, women, and children.
Which one?
But it's all. Yes. I feel like men. That was just bad total of our 50. And that was the lower point. But it's funny, because Murphy said that it was, that's more than attendance than other massages get.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes you have a senior, like, sometimes it's a lunch message, that's what we have.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. It's really, no, stay here. We don't have to, no, stay here, okay? Keep them coming, okay? I'm just gonna go put this in the car and I'm coming right back. Deal? Deal. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. You know what I like about this thing? It also tells you during the time that it's prohibited to break off.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
So,
like at high noon, the 15 minutes
yeah.
up to Adhan, and then the 15 minutes leading up to Maghrib. And so, I mean, it's just a lot of people don't know that. I actually had a conversation with Imam Steele the other day because, you know, when you walk into the masjid, you're supposed to, do the two rakah in the masjid. What if you have 10 minutes till Maghrib, let's say? Do you make those two rakah or do you not?
What did you say?
He said, no, you don't. Because if I remember correctly, the thing he said is makruh to pray at that time. So it's greatly disliked. But I saw another mufti pray during the time.
Yeah, I've heard.
So I think there might be a difference of opinion.
Like, maybe you have to work this issue out.
Yeah. But for example, now with this, but at least it shows prohibited. So at least gives some understanding. Hey, that's a walk-in for. Let's just say you're sitting here, it gives you an understanding.
So it says 139. So which means we should pray.
Be totally frank with you, I'm not sure why it's saying 139. Maybe it's saying one. No, I know what it's saying. 139 is Zuhr.
But you can pray now, right?
Yeah, I called the Adhan according to my app instead of this.
This is 125, right?
On my app, it's saying 133, and this one's 139. My mistake. I should have done by that. So we can call the Adhan again. Either way, I think we're fine.
Can we pray now?
Or usually after you call the Adhan,
Yusuf,
Yeah.
you can pray now, right?
Yeah, you can pray now. Assalamualaikum. You did? How you doing, man? So 2000. There you go. Better? Let it down. We're gonna finish up on the way. You see how much is picking up and how much is put away. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So we just want to be because that maintenance. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the only thing is when you're going for food, that's when you get to practice exercise that belly, deep from the belly, you know, loud. So I think this is good enough. I think it's picking me up pretty good. Shut up. Yeah. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا
يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أما بعد فقال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد بعد أن أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم وقوله تعالى وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعاني صدق الله العظيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم علينا بالخير. Inshallah, in today's khutbah, I'd like to speak about a topic which oftentimes when we hear about, we kind of disregard it. It goes through one ear, comes out the other. When we hear about it, we think, oh man, this is something that I've heard so many times, kind of the effect of it leaves us. We don't really think about it anymore. And oftentimes this idea is something that as Muslims we should heavily rely in, but in reality we don't. And this action, right, this idea, this topic is known as dua. Now before I dive into what dua is, how we go about making dua, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about dua, I'd like to simply define it, right? And definitions are key, right? So linguistically, dua simply means to call out. That's it. Dua, da'wah, right? Da'i means just to call. That's it. Excuse me. Technically, the terminology that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given dua in the Quran is to seek something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to ask Him for something. Dua, to call out, to call towards Allah for something. Now, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say in the Quran about dua? I mentioned an ayah not too long ago. The ayah goes, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمُ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this ayah, He says, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ, your Lord says to you all, ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. He says, call upon me and I will answer you. Now I want to break this sentence down a little further, okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, call upon me, He commands us, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have easily said, when someone calls upon me, I'll answer. But no, He specifically goes out of His way to make a command. When you make a command with someone, when you tell someone to do something in an aggressive way, what does that mean? You want them to really do it. You don't want them to passively do it sometimes here or there when they only need it. But when you command something to do it, right? When you command someone to do something, you want them to go out of their way to do it. Many of you may have children, right? When you tell your child to do something, you expect them to do it. Just like that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes to us and He says, Ud'uni astajib lakum. The second part of the statement, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? He says, astajib lakum. Now to simply translate this statement, it means, I'll answer, basically. That's the gist of what's trying to be relayed to the audience. I'll answer. Call upon me and I'll answer. Now, defining this word further, going into it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have easily said, for those people who know Arabic, He could have said, ujiba lakum or ajibta lakum, like I'll answer you, just simply, right? The simple way to say, I'll just answer. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't say that. He says, astajib lakum. So first, let's recap a little bit. What does He say? He commands you to do something, which entails He really, really, really wants you to do it because there's going to be an outcome for it. After that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I'll answer you. He doesn't just say, I'll answer you though. In Arabic, the word astajib lakum, istajab, comes from a family of verbs which gives off the connotation of seeking to do something. Astajib lakum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, call upon me, right? And then immediately after that, He says, astajib lakum. That when you do call upon me, I won't just answer you, but I will literally go out of my way to answer you. That I'm waiting for you to call me because I'm telling you to do something. I'm commanding you to do something. When you do that thing, I'm waiting there just to answer you. He's not going to passively answer you. He's not going to wait for something to happen and then go answer you, but he's going to rigorously be sitting there waiting, going out of his way to answer you. Now, to put it into perspective, right, because a lot of times it's difficult to understand. How is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala waiting for us? What does that even mean, right? Like, what does it mean? Okay, I call upon you, cool, now what? What's the next step? I'm waiting. It's not coming. So is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really just waiting for me to answer? To put it into perspective, for those people, for example, you have a friend, right? You call him up, hey man, assalamu alaikum, I need this one thing from you. He says, okay, cool. When I'm free, I'll do it for you. That's usually how the conversation goes, right? Usually that person won't be rushing towards it. They'll just passively say, okay, I'll go. As soon as I'm free, I'll go do the thing that you asked me to do. But when you have a parent or a mother or a very, very close family member, someone who you dearly love, for an example, you have a child. Now your child comes to you after playing outside in the heat all day, comes to you and says, Baba or Mama, I'm really, really thirsty. I want some water. At that moment, what are you going to do? You're not going to say, oh, okay, give me 5 minutes. Let me finish my work and then I'll go get it. You're like, oh no, my son or my daughter is extremely thirsty. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go out of my way to go get them a cold glass of water. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to passively sit there. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. You're asking me for something. I'll go give it to you later. You're going to go out of your way. You're going to seek out that water and give it to your child. Just like that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala astajib lakum. When we ask Him for something, anything, not in extreme situations, but I mean anything and everything. When we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is waiting to respond to us. He's not passively sitting there waiting for us to, constantly, continuously beg Him and ask Him over and over again, but all it takes is asking Him one time sincerely. And then He'll go and give you that thing that you asked for. وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. In another part of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. He says, when my servants ask you, O Muhammad, about me, tell them that I'm near. Now it's interesting, right? The correlation between these two ayahs. One came before the other. The one that I mentioned now actually came down first. Now, what is the correlation? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the first ayah, what does He say? He says, ask me something, I'll do it for you. And then immediately after that, there's this sense of muhabba, there's this sense of closeness, this sense of love, that when my servants ask you about me, tell them that I'm near. Tell them that they could come to me, right? To give an example, when you're proud of someone, or you're close to someone, when they accomplish something, right? How do you refer to them? Do you say, if you have a child who, let's say, I don't know, gets to Harvard or something, he gets into an amazing school, and he gets the honor roll. You don't say, oh, my son's name, or whatever, for example, Abdullah. Abdullah got the scholarship. No. You say, my son, Abdullah, got the scholarship. You attach yourself to him because of the fact that you're proud of him, and you want to associate yourself to him. Now, you see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have easily said, when the believers ask you about me, or when those people who submitted, when the Muslims ask you about me, tell them that I'm near. He doesn't say that though. He says, when my slaves, when my servants, those people who go out of their way to obey me in the most difficult of situations, ask about me, when those people, my ibadi, those people who are closest to me, to the point where I'm going to connect myself to them, when they ask me about me, when they ask you about me, tell them that I'm near. Tell them that whenever it is they want anything, to come to me, because they're mine. They're my people. When you have a certain group of people, your family, your community, they're your people. You'll do anything for them, correct? Whether they're from your country, wherever it may be. If they need something from you, you will go out of your way to help them. Just like that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when my people ask you about me, tell them that I'm here. And then in the next part of the ayah, He says, أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. And that I'm going to answer whenever the caller calls upon me. Then He makes it general. He first tells us that we're extremely close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He tells us the fact that He loves us so much, and then immediately after that, He makes a general statement saying, okay, my servants, when they ask about me, tell them that I'm near, but then I'll answer whenever a caller calls. He generally makes that statement immediately after, which then kind of specifies the fact that, okay, if a general person calls upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He'll answer, right? So what if that person is close to Allah? Then what? Is He going to answer then? Definitely. And he's gonna go out of his way even more. Because when you love someone more than just a general love, or when you are close to someone, like extremely close to someone, you'll go out of your way to help them in any situation. Now, after saying those two ayat, many of you may be thinking right now, okay, cool. There's a bunch of ayat in the Quran that says make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he'll answer, right? But many a times that's not the case in our lives, right? We make dua for something, they don't materialize, it just doesn't happen. And you ask yourself, what did I do? Does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not love me? Did I do something wrong? Am I not asking correctly? Because it's simple, right? You ask Allah, He answers. Is there something that do I commit to any sin? Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala angry with me? Right? These questions come to mind, and a lot of times these questions bring doubt. So, how do we answer those questions? You know what's interesting? The companions of the Prophet ﷺ had the same question. We're not the first ones to have these questions. In a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anhu, he gives the answer to these questions in three separate ways. Now, in a nutshell, these three separate ways are the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answers the dua immediately. It happens. For an example, you make dua like you want ice cream, I don't know, for an example. Or you want a certain type of food. Immediately after you go out, you buy that type of food. Congratulations, your dua has been accepted. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave it to you. You worked a little bit for it, but you still got it. Allah gave it to you. The second is it's either delayed or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saves it for the akhirah. An example of this would be a promotion at work. You put in your slip. You've been working for X amount of years at this company, and you think you deserve a promotion at this point. So you make dua, Ya Allah, I really need this promotion. I've been working here for so long. I put in so much effort. So please give it to me. You put in your slip. You wait 1 week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks. Time just goes by, and then you're disappointed because it just doesn't happen. And then Allah Subhanahu wa Taala gives you something better. 6 months later, you're in denial. Maybe even something worse happens. You get fired. You make dua to get a promotion, and then you end up getting fired. Imagine the amount of psychological pain that a person would go through when they ask someone who's so close to them, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, for something, but the exact opposite happens. And then you wait some more. You have patience. And then what happens? You get the job offer of a lifetime. You get this opportunity that you never would have ever thought you would have received, ever in your entire life. And then at that moment you realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted something better for you. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew your value better than you knew it yourself. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to give you something that you could have never even thought to make dua for because you didn't think you were worthy of it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew exactly. He knew exactly what He was doing. And He knew exactly what you were going to make dua for. And He knew exactly what the outcome would have been. And the third type, which to be completely honest with you, I personally never understood until just recently. The third type is when you make dua for something, you never see it materialize, not even like in the slightest bit. But what the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does is remove a musibah, some type of calamity from your path. And you think that, okay, we make all these du'as, a lot of them don't get answered. Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really removing these calamities that could have, in theory, happened? What, what's going on, right? Like, how do we see these materialize? What's happening? And to put that into perspective, one of our teachers told us a story of a personal occurrence that happened to him. Just recently in Dallas, it was raining a lot. And for some odd reason, when they were constructing this beautiful city, mashallah, they didn't think about draining, like water drainage from highways for some odd reason. I don't know what the architects were thinking, mashallah, but they didn't think about that. So now, whenever it rains like a little bit, even if it drizzles, there's these ginormous puddles in the middle of the highway, and then if you're going 60 miles an hour, that's it. You're gone. Your car's gonna slide, mashallah, completely. Kind of like a slip and slide. But that's besides the point. Now, my teacher, he was driving down, coming to class, and he was driving normal speed. He wasn't speeding. Everyone else was driving slow as well. And next to him, there was a tractor trailer going the same amount of speed. And my teacher, obviously just driving normally, he starts to hydroplane. And his car completely spins out of control. And at this moment, he told us that when that happened, I was completely convinced that my life was done. I started reading my kalima, that was it. I was 100% sure that I would have never seen my kids in my life again. That was it. that was the last time that I took a breath. And then he reads this kalima, he sees this tractor trailer barreling towards him, and he thinks that's it. When somehow all the traffic at rush hour at 8 a.m. in the morning somehow comes to a stop. He's able to turn his car around and get back on the highway. Comes to class and he's telling us the story. And he then tells us, it's our hadith teacher, so we actually read this hadith, and he tells us that, interestingly, he personally never understood the hadith as well until this incident happened. He then told us that there's so many du'as that I've made in my life that I've just never seen. And obviously I had tawakkul in Allah. I relied on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I get them, or I either get them in the akhirah. But it was at this moment that I realized that maybe because of these du'as that I made to Allah, maybe because of the times that I begged and cried to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in tahajjud in the last part of the night when everyone else is sleeping but I'm the only one awake, maybe because of the fact that I did that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed me to take another breath. He allowed me to teach another hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That he allowed me to see my family one more time. Right? And these three ways is which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answers these du'as. And just to read the hadith, it was narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anhu, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with him, Ameen, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there is no Muslim who calls upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with words in which there is no sin or severing of family ties, meaning they don't make dua to commit a sin, or they don't make dua to separate families, or obviously just for something bad. If a person makes a good dua, then, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answers it in three ways. Either he answers it immediately, or he will store it up for him in the akhirah, or he will remove something bad from him that is equivalent to what he is asking for. And then the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they asked, then should we make a great amount of dua? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, yes, constantly. He said, constantly make dua. Even if they're small du'as, in any and every situation, continue to make your du'as. And with that, I conclude, وَآخِرُ دَعْوَانَا أَنِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. In the first part of the khutbah, we spoke about what dua means, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about dua, and what happens if we don't see our du'as being answered, right? What's actually going on in the background. And from that we learn that at the end of the day, all of our du'as are being looked at by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He hears everything we're saying and everything we're asking for. But the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes these du'as come into our lives are in multiple different ways. And from that we understand to continuously make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, a common misunderstanding that we have as Muslims living in the 21st century is the actual definition of dua that I mentioned earlier. That dua is simply translated to in Arabic as calling for something or an invitation for something. Now, when you invite someone for something, right, is it their decision to come? Right? Yes, it is their decision to come. Now, when you, for example, if you invite someone to your wedding or something, it's their decision if they want to come or not. They can either accept the invitation or reject it, right? You're not expecting an answer necessarily. It's their choice whether they answer or not. We often confuse dua for talab. Now, what talab is seeking something out with the expectation of return. Now, for example, when we were in grade school, right? You would, if you do all your work properly, everything's done perfectly. You raise your hand, you ask your teacher, "Oh, teacher, can I use the bathroom?" Your teacher's obviously going to say yes. You're just asking out of respect and discipline, out of your good etiquette. Otherwise, you know your teacher's going to allow you to get up and go because you did everything correctly, right? But dua doesn't work like that. Dua is simply a suggestion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a humble slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asking him for something to benefit him. That's it. That's the actual definition of dua. And going back to the point where we don't see our du'as being accepted, one thing to note is that when we don't see our du'as necessarily being accepted, it doesn't mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry with us. Nor does it mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mad at us, right? We look at those people who are most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those people, like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who made multiple du'as to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nuh alayhi salam, who made multiple du'as to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his family. They didn't see their du'as materialize immediately. It just didn't happen at that time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had a better plan. You see, Yusuf alayhi salam, he went through so much difficulty. This child, he was kidnapped, or sorry, he was thrown into a well by his own siblings, then kidnapped, then sold into slavery, and then imprisoned wrongfully for a large portion of his life. Also, what? Did he do anything? Did this innocent child do anything to deserve this? No, he didn't. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had a plan for him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew that had he not gone through this, then literally there would have been an economic meltdown. That literally an entire country's people would have died. Just for a little bit of sacrifice of the Prophet. And one statement that I'd like to leave off with that honestly hit home for myself is that one of our teachers told us one time, the actual kind of realization of dua and reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what's actually going on, right? And the fact that when you rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you decide to, become more pious, you start to grow out your beard, sister starts putting on hijab, your life isn't necessarily going to get easier. You start making a lot of dua, you start to pray more salah, it doesn't mean that your life's going to get easier, right? What it actually means is that whether your life gets difficult or easier, it doesn't matter. Because now you know how to cope with it. You know what to do. Because of the fact that you have hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You now know that whatever difficulty it may be that you're going through, you have someone to talk to. You have someone to seek something out from, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us all the tawfiq to act upon this beautiful idea of dua. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to embody the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I ask him to increase our families, and I ask him to help us all in the best way possible. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد بعدد من صلى وصام اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد بعدد من قعد وقام وصل على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى كل ملائكة المقربين وعلى عباد الله الصالحين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون ولذكر الله تعالى أعلى وأولى وأعز وأجل وأتم وأهم وأكبر وأقيم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله هيا على الصلاة هيا على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Please straighten your own. Please turn off your cell phones. Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تكونوا كالذين آذوا موسى لا تكونوا كالذين آذوا موسى فبرأه الله مما قالوا وكان عند الله وجيها يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما إنا عرضنا الأمانة على السماوات والأرض والجبال فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها وحملها الإنسان إنه كان ظلوما جهولا ليعذب الله المنافقين والمنافقات والمشركين والمشركات ويتوب الله على المؤمنين والمؤمنات وكان الله غفورا رحيما الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أوحى لها يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره الله سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. A couple of short announcements. Um, every one we last week we announced that we got a part-time imam. We wanted to do our due diligence to get everything, all of our ducks in a row. But alhamdulillah, we have come to a conclusion, and we have selected Imam Shakil as our part-time imam. He's going to be helping us out here as well as down at Frisco, and he will be going for Hajj, and so he'll be starting when he returns, which is going to be in September. So Alhamdulillah, this is great because it's going to be a lot of benefit for us here with a lot of different programs, and a few days a week we're going to have the different salat and also access to somebody of his stature, somebody of knowledge you can come and talk to, for whether it's counseling sessions or whether it's questions regarding the deen, inshallah ta'ala. So that's number one, alhamdulillah. And the second thing I want to announce, every night after Isha Salah, there's a short program. Um, uh, some programming is tafsir of the Quran, and then other programs regarding how to improve your salah. So every night there's a short 5-10 minutes. It's open to brothers and sisters. It's right after salah, but it's a way for us to benefit and get a quick reminder on a daily basis. So inshallah ta'ala, do come and attend. And jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
No, no, just me by myself. My mom is here. She just came from Africa. Yeah, so I came to see her. Maybe just 5 minutes from here. What's she in it? So is this Aubrey or Nicky? I just want to check. We have all the small divisions. We have your number. Sometimes you can reach out that. Oh, I'm really glad to see you. How's your family too? How's your wife? Really? I'm coming. I will tell my in-laws to come and sell. कल 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 ही बनाइए अभी अभी खा कर आ रहा है सालन सालन तिलापिया तिलापिया का सालन नहीं नहीं जॉब क्या है
You just love me.
wow and I know this border now I do Google this on my phone. I didn't expect our I told you Nasir, nice to meet you. I'm from Gambia. It's a nice I just came to visit my family. I'm usually in more than which I think, but Alhamdulillah, it's a beautiful place. Alhamdulillah. You guys do fish? Yes, very good. My family just moved here, so I send my in-laws about for just 3 weeks. No, no, I just came to visit them. No, I'm living in Bucharest. Yes, but I came to see them. So when I was ready to go to Jumu'ah, it's too far, like 1 hour drive. So I googled, and at first I couldn't find it. Yeah, there's a problem on Google. Yes, I think you helped me. I think you were with the child furnace. Was it you? No. Oh, not you. Okay. That was your brother. He helped me. So I saw it. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, and I went. Inshallah. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. You're welcome, bro. Thank you very much. May Allah be with you all. Welcome.